So recently, there's been a group of self-proclaimed goth girls that have gone viral online for posting their group and solo content. It's been pretty divisive, with a lot of people accusing them of being posers and distorting what actual goth culture looks like, with many claiming that their overt and almost offensive amounts of sexuality could potentially be harmful to the goth community as a whole, as it may lead more naive or ignorant people to believe that anyone who presents goth is on OnlyFans or is like, you know, overtly sexual or something akin to that nature. Now, those are the cliff notes, but I've actually been thinking about this topic in depth for like weeks now, because I honestly find it really interesting just how the internet treats responsibility amongst alternative and marginalized communities as a whole, and I've actually got a lot more to say here than I initially thought that I would. I've also got a lot of questions that I've had to ask myself, and I would urge you to ask yourselves as well, regardless of whatever opinion you may hold towards these people. We'll get into that, of course, but before that, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you don't, I will destroy a small nation somewhere in Europe, like Luxembourg. So especially if you're Luxembourgian, get to tapping that subscribe button if you value your life. Okay, now before I go too in depth on my thoughts and questions that I have in regards to the goth house, as we'll call them, I will show you their official Instagram first. If I scroll all the way down on this Instagram, you'll see that there's not really many posts. Like, they haven't been a thing for too long. You look one quick scroll, and that's the entire account. Despite this, however, they have 288,000 followers and millions of views across all platforms, tens of millions. And they've also sparked up huge conversations surrounding goths and posers and what it means to be goth and whether or not this is harmful, and they've been pretty goddamn influential. It consists of 4 creators primarily. Got Queen... Oh no, okay. I'm clicking on the accounts now and I'm seeing like old acquaintances, I guess, from school who follow some of these people, and respectfully, so, you know what? No, I'm not gonna say anything because they might be watching this. Daz, you need to blur their accounts. You have to blur their accounts. You have to blur their accounts, Naz. So you've got Queen Neffy here. You've got Pinky Chew Woo here with over 2 million followers. God damn. And you've got Peaches, whose account is private. Interesting. Okay. And then you've got Belbo Baggins is with 1 million followers. And yeah, they all have OnlyFans, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they all have OnlyFans, and a lot of the purpose of this content is to promote said OnlyFans, of course. So I guess we should also go over some of the content, which, I mean, look, I'll be completely real with you. I'll let the mask drop for a minute. The content is not particularly interesting or thought-provoking or mind-blowing or trailblazing or anything of substance. Don't even show that one, Nat. See, I'm trying to find one that's actually, some of them aren't even worth talking about. This isn't even a video, but it's the most obvious sort of depiction of what this account is about. It's just 4 girls in gothic makeup flaunting their looks. Goth makeup, goth clothing, you get the idea, right? Well, goth in quotation marks, of course. We'll get into the whole what goth is in just a second, but that's the basis of what this account is. In fact, that's the basis of what all these girls' careers are, really. So, here's a video. Okay, I'll play a video now.
How do you like your donuts? I like them glazed. I like the balls. I like them cream filled. I like them long.
I think you get the idea. But yeah, look, you can see half of the comments here are like falling for the thirst trap, I guess. Where is this Dunkin' Donuts asking for a friend, right? Someone says, with 3,000 likes, of course. But then a lot of them are being like, oh, goth in quotation marks. A lot of them, damn, I don't support all women, this person says here. I love how none of them are actually goth, LMAO. So opinions seem pretty split here. With all that being said, though, I'll take the glazed one. And then there's another from the Dunkin' photo shoot. It don't look like a Dunkin', though. Don't look like a Dunkin' in the background. That looks like a regular, like, coffee shop. Is that what Dunkins look like? Top comment here, Pinky Chew Uwu says, guess how we made the glaze. It's just fucking disgusting, dude. That's fucking abhorrent. But it's so abhorrent and it's so, like, out there that it's very, like, you can tell, it's tough because it's so out there. You can tell how very much aware they are of how cringe and hyperbolic and worthy of criticism they will be seen as. Like, these people know exactly what they're doing, and they know that people don't like them, and they just don't give a shit. And in a way, isn't that what being goth is all about? So goth primarily at its basis is about, well, it has its roots in London, actually. Late 1970s, very gloomy economic times and sort of loud anger and the rise of punk rock as well. You got bands like Joy Division and the Banshees and stuff, and that sort of gave rise to the goth subculture. They were very anti-establishment, they were very alternative, and they very much did not give a fuck what people thought about them. I kind of see the origins of goth culture as sort of a cousin to the origins of punk culture. I think there's a lot of similarities there. They're very progressive as well. It sort of was a safe space for LGBTQ LGBTQ people. They felt very safe in these sort of goth spaces. And there always has been a portion of the goth community that was very much open sexually about, I guess, sexuality and kink and all that sort of thing too. However, there is an important distinction to be made between sort of early goths that would dress provocatively, I suppose, insofar as that a lot of the reasoning behind said provocative dressing was not genuinely to provoke like a sexual reaction out of people or sexualize themselves in any way, shape, or form, but it was more of just a fuck you to the normalcy or a fuck you to how people think you should typically be dressing up. It was a sign or a method of non-conformity, basically. It wasn't like inherently sexual in nature. Not for everyone, but generally that's how it was seen by a lot of goths early on in the 70s, right? The point I'm trying to make here is that, like, at its very core, being goth is about the music and the politics. You'd be very hard-strung to find a goth that is, like, right-leaning or right-wing. I think it'd be almost impossible to find, you know, a goth person who is, like, anti-LGBTQ. Now, one thing you will find about the Goth House is that nowhere on any of their accounts do they express any opinions either musically or politically. The only thing that's vaguely goth about any of these women that we can see is the fashion. However, when I say vaguely goth, I really do mean vaguely goth because they're, you know, very clearly prioritizing fast fashion over music or politics or what it genuinely means to be goth to so many people. And it certainly is true that wearing black and chokers and necklaces and jewelry, a lot of it homemade or DIY was a huge part of goth culture in the 80s especially. Whilst it is true that, like, you know, a large portion of the goth subculture does enjoy wearing clothing akin to this, to most people, being goth is more than just fast fashion. In fact, the type of fast fashion that we see from the Goth House, so to speak. It'd be like if I didn't even know how to boil an egg, but I bought a hat and I put it on my head and called myself a chef. That is essentially what these girls are doing when they call themselves goth. As far as we know, maybe they do listen to the music and they have the political views, maybe they do, but they're certainly not open about it. Once again, probably because the whole point of their content is to entice people to sort of join their OnlyFans, and by spreading their political opinions or musical opinions, they might divide people more so than they actually want to. I guess their goal is just to sit there or walk around and be pretty and make these skits that are just excuses for them to look pretty. Like, I don't know, let's click on this one, for example. Nice. What was that? What was the, goth girls are on their way to steal your hoodie and ruin your life. Okay, so these girls are to blame for the fucking epidemic of men on, like, dating platforms having the most boring bios of all time. I'm looking for a mildly autistic woman, or I'm looking for a goth girl to ruin my life. Oh, mate, by the way, God bless any alternative woman watching this video who's on Hinge. I know it's rough, soldier, but you'll get through it. And if you've not already heard it today, which you definitely have, probably about 20 times, please step on me, mummy. Oh, you look like you could ruin my life. And do you listen to the Deftones? That's me just lost my entire alt audience. Okay, now here's where a lot of the disagreements I have with the conversation surrounding these people online come, right? Because videos like this have been going viral recently. In fact, these videos are bigger than a lot of the Goth House's videos. When I'm putting on black lipstick, but I realize who else wears black lipstick, I mean, it shows all the Goth House girls, right? And the bio here is, and the caption here is, "This is why I stopped being goth." I personally think that it's both ironic and a little depressing that people whose entire subculture is based around being alternative and not caring about what people think about them are now taking an active effort to not dress basic goth because they're scared of being associated with a group of people that are widely disliked. Or in many cases are scared of being perceived as like a sex worker because they think that that's what goths are seen as nowadays. I hate that. I really, really hate that. You got comments here as well. The only thing I can say is that I've adapted quite a bit in the way I express myself visually because I really don't want to be associated with that type of girl. Now look, I'm not gonna fucking tell people how to dress, obviously. Like, if you don't want to do it because you don't want to be associated with that type of girl, that's totally fine, I get it. But I just find it really, really sad, and I don't think that you should change how you want to present yourself because you're scared of being associated with somebody else. However, where my opinion becomes a little bit controversial is I don't know how much responsibility falls on the Goth House for making this look so stigmatized. Because maybe they feel more comfortable wearing those clothes and that amount of makeup as well. And if they really enjoy wearing that makeup and wearing those clothes, then who the fuck am I to say that they shouldn't be doing it? If you want to wear black lipstick and a choker and dye your hair black and wear all black and wear these frilly fucking, even if they're tacky, if you want to wear all this bullshit, then you go right ahead and you fucking do it. Just wear what you want. Whatever makes you feel comfortable, whatever makes you feel hot, whatever makes you feel confident, wear that shit. And if it doesn't make you feel confident anymore because you're scared of being associated with them, so you genuinely feel like shit wearing it, then of course, probably don't wear it, sure. But in my mind, it's a bit like look, these girls clearly aren't real goth insofar as they don't listen to the music and they don't have the politics. Or maybe they do, but they're not open about it, right? And the fact that they're not open about it might be enough for some people to class them as posers. Because to be secretive about that shit isn't necessarily the most, you know, goth thing in the world, sure. There's also been a video like this that went viral on some guy's YouTube channel. Goth girls blind date 7 nice guys. I'll show you the intro to this video and then I'll keep going.
Can this hot goth mommy find herself the perfect good boy? With the help of her goth sisters, they'll grill these guys based off looks, beliefs, and kinks.
But are you a good boy?
We'll see if she finds love on Love Bites.
Okay, that's all. We don't need to watch the rest right now. Now again, it's very obvious what this is. It's very obvious who these girls are. It's very obvious what their intentions are and what the goal is, for sure. However, my question is, if these girls were real goth and they did talk about the politics and they did talk about the music that they loved, right? And they were everything that you would classify as genuine, partly like a genuine part of the goth subculture, would the over sexualization of themselves and goth as a whole suddenly no longer be harmful just because we don't see them as posers anymore? I personally believe that people who look at these 4 girls and then assume that anyone who's even remotely or slightly goth or like softcore alt is exactly like them and is like overtly sexual and wants to do all this weird kink shit, I think those people would be just as ignorant no matter how mature or ethical these goth house girls were in their presentation of their sexuality. So if they opened up every video or skit with, hey guys, just so you know, we are not representative of the goth community as a whole, I don't think that would make a blind bit of difference to the people who are ignorant enough to associate them with the rest of the goth community. I also think a lot of this conversation is a little bit unfair and disparaging to goth people or people part of this community who genuinely do find enjoyment expressing themselves sexually or via kink communities or anything of that kind of, you know, or elk, that kind of vibe. Whatever. You know what I mean when I say that. Because if the answer is, yeah, they would still be harmful even if they weren't posers and everyone saw them as real goth, then I would respond with like, but there are so many goth people or people part of this community that do genuinely enjoy expressing themselves sexually or do genuinely enjoy expressing themselves via kink or being a part of these communities that that like the wider goth community hate being associated with. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. Oh, it's like very common knowledge and very like simple humanity even to not associate a small portion of an audience with the entire fucking thing. So yeah, it's not fair for a small portion of overtly sexual goth people to be seen as representative of the entire community, right? That is very harmful. I agree. It's very harmful. It's dangerous. It's fucking ignorant. And it's disgusting. It is grim. However, I don't think we should put the onus or the responsibility on that small portion of the goth community that do express themselves in that manner to stop the community from being seen or disparaged in that way. Like if there is a real goth person who shares all the values, listens to all the music, reads up on all the politics, who genuinely just loves expressing themselves sexually no matter how kinky or weird it may be. Maybe they're even a sex worker who enjoys their job. I don't think it's fair to ask them to limit themselves or prohibit a part of their personality or the way that they want to express themselves because you're scared that other people might look at them and think that they represent the wider community. Because in my mind, it's like, yeah, it sucks that people will see it that way, but that's not a problem with her, it's a problem with everyone who takes it that way. A great example I have of this is I know so many black people, particularly black women, because that's who this stereotype affects the most. The stereotype I'm talking about is like the Jezebelian, loud, angry, sort of brash, bold type black woman who just shouts at everything, right? It's a very harmful stereotype. Like it is, objectively, we can all agree it's a very harmful and disparaging and bad stereotype. However, you will find that a lot of black women online, out of fear of being seen as this stereotype or being used as an example of the stereotype being real and being applied to other black women, will consciously prohibit themselves from becoming too passionate or loud on camera or in public, despite genuinely feeling really passionate about a subject. So there are a lot of black people online who will deliberately hold back parts of themselves, limit the amount of expression, the way that they genuinely feel, and the way that they want to express themselves online out of fear of being seen as a stereotype, and also out of fear of people calling them out and going, you're making us look bad. Now, the latter doesn't really happen much, which is a good thing, but the reason reason it doesn't happen much is because it's widely understood that if a black woman is acting passionate on camera about something that they have the right to be passionate about, anyone who takes that and applies the angry black woman trope to all black women is a fucking ignorant arsehole. And that's on them, not the black woman who was talking about whatever the fuck they were talking about. It's not their fault at all. And I understand that levels of oppression in history are not the same in terms of, you know, black women and goth subculture. However, I think that that same basic mentality should still, at the very least, is worth thinking about. If there is a goth woman online who is expressing themselves in a very sexual manner, and people take that and apply it to the entire community, whose fault is that? Is it the goth woman for just being themselves? Or is it the weirdo men who are ignorant enough to apply that to everyone in the community? I just think we need to be a little bit careful when we criticize these girls in the goth house for being way too sexual. Because I don't think that that in and of itself is a worthy criticism. Same with them being like online sex workers or OnlyFans people, right? That's not a worthy criticism in and of itself. And I definitely don't like that people are scared to express themselves because they don't want to be seen as dressing basic goth or being a poser or being related to these people. It's like, no, you just be yourself, dude. You gotta fucking get over that shit because you'll end up limiting yourself in a way that you don't even realize. So all that being said, do I think that these goth house girls are a problem who are causing direct harm to the goth community? I don't really know. But the reason I say that is because I'm not a fan of how certain people will attribute the harm that marginalized groups face to a singular person. Bonnie Blue is a great example. There are a lot of people who say shit like, oh, women are treated badly because of Bonnie Blue. And it's like, no, Bonnie Blue doesn't really have anything to do with it. Regardless of whether or not Bonnie Blue has done anything, if she never fucking existed, if she was never online, women would be treated just as horribly as they currently are. If these goth house girls did not exist, I still think the stereotype of the overtly sexual, kinky goth girl would still be a thing that permeates and harms the entire community. In fact, it's because of that stereotype that the goth house work. The goth house did not create that stereotype. The goth house exists because of the stereotype. So you get comments like this. It's just honestly, these break my heart. I'm allergic to a lot of makeup brands, so I can wear very limited stuff, and I'm always so afraid I look like them because this is the extent of my makeup. I hate it. I just think it's so depressing. I think it's so depressing. Makeup is a little bit like hair insofar as that it is inherently political, and so many people use it in different ways. So people being ashamed to wear their makeup in a certain way breaks my heart the same way that someone being ashamed to wear their hair in a certain way would. Like, whatever your reason for wearing makeup or styling your hair is none of my fucking business, and you should do exactly what you want and what makes you feel comfortable. If you want to wear makeup as a form of like artistic expression, that's fucking great. Go for it. You do you. If you want to wear makeup because you want to look good on a night out, then that's fucking great as well. You do you. If I wanted to wear makeup for one of these videos, and that'd be great, and I would do it, and I wouldn't be scared of looking like fucking Jake Monroe or whatever his name is. But anyway, I know that's a long rant, and I know I asked some questions, and I know I don't know, maybe there's a little ignorance from me there in terms of what, you know, goth is or what it means to some people or just how influential or like how influential it may be. I'm not sure, but this is the sort of video where I'm very curious to see what the comments will say. I think bottom line for me is, as much as I'm not a fan of these girls, I don't think we should be making them as big of a deal as we currently are, or villainizing them as much as we are, because that's kind of what gives them power, if that makes sense. Like the fact that people are actually changing the manner of which they express themselves and they're depressed about that, or they don't like the way that they look anymore because of these girls, I think that shit sucks. I think it's really bad, and I think it's really depressing, like I said. Ideally, in spite of these gal, everyone would wear what the fuck they wanted and nothing would change. And then all of a sudden we realize that these posers actually have no fucking, like, influence. They live in their own little bubble of people who want to buy their OnlyFans, and then you live in your bubble of the real world and your friends and your family. I ended up having a pretty substantial and, in my opinion, quite productive conversation about this topic on stream the other day. So I want to play a segment from that right now, and if you want to see the full VOD, it'll be up on my second channel, Shepherd Boy, tomorrow. Which, by the way, we upload over there daily, sometimes even twice a day, so go head over there if you want a bit more of me. Let's say these people here, these girls, let's say that they were actually goth. They talked about the music, they talked about the politics. If they were actually goth and they weren't posers, would this type of content still be harmful? Would you still have a problem with it? That's my question. And I really want to know. I'm actually very curious. I want real answers here in chat. Yeah, you would. Yes. Okay, so your issue isn't that they're posers then. Your issue is that they're sexualizing themselves. Am I correct in saying that? And then some, oh, okay, so it's a little split. Some people are saying they wouldn't have a problem. Some people are saying that they would have. It's mostly yes, though. But if that is the problem, is goth related to punk? Goth and punk have always been cousins. So if your problem isn't that they're posers, then don't bring up that they're posers as the issue, because that's not the criticism. You can be goth without being trad goth in full goth. Okay, so here's my question, right? Because there are a lot of goth people from the very, like, inception of goth culture. There's been a lot of sexualization, there's been a lot of kink, there's been a lot of that kind of thing. Now, I understand there's a distinction between goth people dressing provocatively as a fuck you to conservatism and conformity, which is a lot of the reason why they dressed maybe scantily or a little more provocatively for sure. It wasn't inherently sexual, it was more of just a non-conformist thing, and I totally respect that, that's totally fine, I understand that. However, there are also a lot of goth people back then and even now who like to express themselves artistically in a sexual manner, or like to talk about kink or express themselves, like, you know, in that kind of way too, which I'm sure we can all agree on that too. Now, my thing would be, if someone who is really goth, who loves the politics, who loves the music and all that shit, comes online and expresses themselves in a sexual manner, I fear that they are going to be criticized just for being themselves, if that makes sense. Sexualizing the culture, no sexualizing yourself as a person, whatever, do what you want. It's not a problem of kink, it's the time and the place of the commercialization. What do you mean the time? Also, they were genuinely goth, they would not be doing this. Well, the thing is, there are so many, but there are a lot of goth people who do like to express themselves sexually online. I personally don't care that they're sexualizing themselves. I feel that we will get over-sexualized anyway. I don't know if this makes it worse. I'm on that train. I don't think that goth people are going to be treated any worse because of these people. I don't think that goth people are going to be over-sexualized to an unfair extent because of these people. I think these people exist because goths are already over-sexualized and generalized as, like, kinky fucking mental people, essentially. That's not a stereotype that exists because of the goth house. The goth house exists because of that stereotype. And in my opinion, when you criticize people like this just for being sexual or having OnlyFans, it is unfair on genuine, like, actual goths who are part of this subculture, who do feel genuine fulfillment and love to express themselves in a sexual manner. The example that I use in my main channel video is there's a stereotype, in the same way that there's a stereotype in the goth community about goth people being like, all goth people are just, you know, they're fucking sexual deviants and they want to, like, get slapped around and choked and all this bullshit. It's a very harmful stereotype. It's bad because a lot of goth people are not like that. They just like to, I don't know, wear a certain type of makeup or listen to the music, and, you know, it's not fair. It's not fair for goth people to be generalized and seen that way. It's very harmful. There's a similar stereotype when it comes to black people, black women specifically, in regards to them being angry and loud and boisterous and brash and sort of beastly in a way, right? And that is also a very harmful stereotype, right? And I'm not comparing the two as oppressed groups. Obviously, black people are a lot more oppressed than goths are, and they're very different. But I'm comparing the method of oppression and method of generalization, if that makes sense. I know a lot of black people, but particularly black women, both in real life and online, who feel very passionately about certain topics, right? However, when they feel themselves sort of raising their voice a little bit or becoming passionate about a certain topic, there's this underlying fear in their head about, well, I can't get too angry at this thing that's really pissing me off, no matter how warranted I am in my anger, because then I feel as though I might be playing into the stereotype that so many people see my group as. So they are limiting a part of themselves. They are limiting the way that they express themselves out of fear of being generalized. And I think that's very, 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 very unfair. I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's a good thing to carry out. And I think criticizing goth people for sexualizing themselves online would be the same, or not the same, but it would be comparable to criticizing a black woman for being angry online because they might feed into the stereotype that black women online are angry, if that makes sense. Because it's not a problem with the black woman for being angry online that other fucking idiots or ignorant people generalize them in that way. It's not the black woman's fault, it's the audience, it's the ignorant audience's fault for generalizing them. In the same way that if a goth person comes out and expresses themselves sexually or talks about kink in a way that they find satisfying or a way that they want to, it's not fair to criticize the goth person for expressing themselves in the manner that they want to. It's not fair. Because it's not their fault that people take that and generalize goths as a whole. It's the ignorant audience's fault. The problem is the fashion they use, Danky. Most of these women use fashion from places like Shine and Temu that completely go against goth values. Okay, I hear that. I mean, we don't know where these people bought their clothes and stuff. But I do hear you, but also you're saying that, but there is... Hang on, I'll show you. This one is not followed by anyone that I know. But I can show you this, Leslie. This girl here is a member of the Goth House. And if we go to cosplay, look, she... Come on, load. She makes her own stuff. I think she made this on her own. I think this is all handmade. Yeah, she made that mask as well. That's all her own. This is very handmade. DIY has always been a part of goth culture. Like, this is very goth in my opinion. I think calling this person a poser is unfair. They clearly take a lot of pride. They clearly put a lot of effort into their clothing. So for the whole internet to label her a poser just because she's expressing herself sexually or because she has an OnlyFans, I don't think it's fair. I think it's very unfair. So I understand that a lot of being a cosplayer does not make her goth, Danky. Okay, well, again, I don't know if you're arguing with my fucking Stitch costume, with my fucking Stitch statue up there, because I never fucking said that. I'm arguing against the point. Some people said that they buy their clothes off Shine and Temu, or Sheen, however the fuck you pronounce it. And I'm proving that no, they don't all buy their shit off of Sheen and Temu. This person puts a lot of effort into their stuff. Look, this is a story highlight of stuff that they made. They made this sort of trinket here. They made this bone belt here as well. Let's see some other stuff too. They made these model shoes, not the shoes of course, but they sort of added some stuff to the shoes. They made this, made some, like they're very talented. They're very talented, clearly. If you can DIY as a cosplay, which is hard, you can DIY goth clothes, which is much simpler. Yeah, absolutely. I agree completely. And they made this mask too. They made a big monster chair too. This is fucking talent, dude. Isn't goth a music-based subculture? That's the very basis of goth. So if there's like a pyramid of goth, the base would be music, and then one above that, I think, would be politics. And then maybe one above that would be fashion. But I become less confident in my assertions as the pyramid goes higher. I know that music is at the bottom and then maybe politics one above that. But yeah, I just don't think it's fair to call these people posers. I think it's a big assumption. I think it is. This is a member of the Goth House, and in my mind, I think calling her goth is unfair. They say stuff like, fuck the system and list the most popular bands. I can't say for certain, but it feels like they Googled goth music and goth values and said the first result they found. I agree. I think it is performative, for sure. I think a lot of them are being performative. I think a lot of them are just using it as a costume. I agree. However, I do think some people over-exaggerate the harm that it might be causing to the goth community. And the only reason I say that is, okay, so look, the one thing I said in my main channel video too is like, a lot of people look at Bonnie Blue and they will say, Bonnie Blue is the reason why women are being treated horribly. And it's like, no. Bonnie Blue is not the reason women are treated horribly. With or without Bonnie Blue, women would be treated just as badly. It's just Bonnie Blue's a very easy scapegoat because we want to point it towards one specific person or one specific culture or one specific policy. That's not how it is. It's very complicated. There's nuance. You can't blame one person. Goth people are treated badly. People want to explain why simply, so they point to the Goth House. The Goth House are not why goth people are being generalized in the manner of which they are. I get the poser thing, I sort of agree, but still. Yeah, I do think that some of them maybe are posers, but to say that but I think I've pretty, logically disproved that at the very least, this member here, Belbo Baggins or Bella, is not a poser. They seem very invested in goth culture. And yeah, of course, they're very provocative, and they're very much like an OnlyFans girl. Which, if you're against that, then you're against that, I guess. I get a lot of shit for not really caring about that sort of thing. That's like one of the biggest things that me and my audience disagree with mostly, is that I think she's well within her right to do OnlyFans. I don't really give a fuck. I think good for her. If she wants to and she finds it, fruitful and she wants to make money off of it, that's perfectly fine. She can do that. There's a lot of goths who were sex workers back in the day, and goths and prostitutes and sex workers shared a lot of similar spaces because they were both very anti-conservative and they were very non-judgmental and they didn't care what other people thought about them. And the one thing that I do respect about these people is that they very clearly do not give a shit what other people say or think about them. And in a way, how can you get more goth than that? The whole point of the subculture, in a way, is that you're doing things without caring what other people think. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm not saying that they are true goths or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. The problem is the whole concept of taking slightly alternative looking women to perpetuate the goth dommy mummy stereotype that so many incels fantasize about just to make money. Yeah, I agree, that's harmful, it's bad, but that would exist with or without the Goth House. Anyone who dresses slightly alt, who's been on Hinge for more than an hour, will know this. In fact, there's 1,500 people on this live stream. There's a large portion of people who will know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. It's like if you dress slightly alt or have colored hair or dress in black or whatever, then there's 3 messages you'll get on Hinge exclusively. It'll be like, step on me, mummy. You look like you can ruin my life. Do you listen to the Deftones? I like slightly autistic goth women or some bullshit. There's some silly, stupid shit like that. I'm sure you're all so used to hearing it. But yeah, I don't know, dude. I just think it's unfair. I think a lot of it stems. I think a lot of the shit that these people are getting stems from an anti-sex work dogma that I personally disagree with. And unfortunately, I think a lot of the creators who who possess this anti-sex work dogma are sort of doing it under the illusion of being pro-sex work or pro sex workers' rights, but when they talk about topics like this, I think their inner anti-sex work dogma sort of reveals itself in a way. It's something I feel quite passionately about. But that being said, I do think that the Goth House are very cringe, and they're not my thing, and I wouldn't, sorry, I just read something. And I wouldn't, I wouldn't engage with any of their content. Yeah, where else do you have your tattoos? That's a big one too, for sure. People are definitely doing that, but there's also lots of valid criticism. Yeah, but I don't think, I just think it's an issue. We shouldn't overstate the criticism. I'm anti-buying sex, but not anti-selling it. Does that make sense? It depends what you mean by that. Do you count buying someone's OnlyFans as buying sex? Are you anti-purchasing someone's OnlyFans? People can't do sex without consumers. Low-key preach wouldn't be supply without demand. Stop it. Anti-buying, pro-selling exhibition of a self-righteous windbag. Look like posers. 100% this wouldn't exist without patriarchy. Okay, but here's the thing. If you're anti-buying OnlyFans, then... Oh, you know what it is? This is something I've really been thinking about. Because OnlyFans, like it or not, is the most ethical form of porn consumption online. OnlyFans, I'm not saying that there's no exploitation. I'm not saying that before the fucking comments come in. But OnlyFans is the platform that sells pornography that is the least likely to host any type of trafficking or exploitation or minors or anything along those lines. It is, without doubt, in my opinion, the most ethical form of porn consumption. If you're in a relationship with a boy, or a man, or whatever, and you don't mind them watching pornography, which most relationships, men watch pornography or whatever. Paying the artist too, absolutely, Philosophy Noir, you're correct. Most relationships, there's like porn consumption on both ends, honestly. And if you're okay with that, I've heard a lot of people say things along the lines of like, I've heard a lot of women say things like, oh, I'm okay with my man watching porn, but if they buy someone's OnlyFans, then I'm not okay with that. I think that's actually quite a selfish mindset to have. Because watching porn on Pornhub or some other pornographic website is a lot more likely to cause direct harm. It's a lot less ethical than OnlyFans would be. So you're almost prioritizing your comfort level. You're prioritizing like your insecurities, I'll say it. You're prioritizing your insecurities over the safety of women. And I think that's probably because of the DM. I understand the DM thing. I understand DMing them is different. But just purchasing it shouldn't be an issue if you're okay with your man watching porn in general. Because your insecurities shouldn't take precedence over the safety of the women that you claim to care about so much, in my opinion. I think people see OnlyFans as a specific person to be insecure about. Pornhub is just gonna be people you don't think is a specific target individual. Yeah, I hear you, but I still think that the point that I'm bringing up here is very worth thinking about. OnlyFans is the most ethical way to consume porn. So if you're going to do it, I feel like that shouldn't be something that's discouraged. Any addiction's bad, anything that produces dopamine is addicting. Yeah, porn addiction's real. I think porn addiction is bad. I think the overconsumption of porn is horrible. Yeah, porn. I think porn is a net bad for society. I've made this pretty clear as well. But there's a lot of misinformation that gets spread on porn too. So you'll see a lot of like anti-porn accounts say porn makes you dumber. The effects of every time you jizz to porn, it like affects a part of your brain and literally makes you dumber. That's a load of shit. It's like very pseudoscientific. You hear porn is linked to erectile dysfunction. It's like, oh, yeah, kind of, but only when you massively overconsume it and you're fucking insane, then it can be linked to erectile dysfunction. Then it's like, oh, porn can be linked to domestic violence. And it's like, true, there's an undeniable link between pornography and domestic violence. Again, though, that's usually when that's an overconsumption of porn, but it's also very much a correlation versus causation thing, because we don't know whether or not the horrible relationship is causing the pornography addiction or the pornography addiction is causing the horrible relationship. Realistically, it's likely that the two are sort of feeding off of each other. And again, I'm not pro-porn. I'm not anti, but like, it's very complicated. It's just complicated. It's really complicated. Thank you, your woke comments are about to make me mad. I don't know. I feel like we're having some decent conversation here. God forbid women have freedom. Yeah, I don't think OnlyFans should be like banned. Or I don't like how much people who go on OnlyFans are critiqued simply for having OnlyFans and feeding into a system that people deem to be misogynistic. I hate the fucking topic about empowerment in the sex work industry and how being a sex work is or isn't empowering. I despise that line of questioning, that line of thinking. I think it's incredibly unproductive. I think it's incredibly irrelevant. I think it's incredibly low IQ and unserious. I think it's ridiculous. I also hate the very hacky support the workers but not the industry thing as well. I think it's something that a lot of people say because it's like a TikTok slogan that it makes you sound almost just and sort of both sidesy in a way. But at the end of the day, the workers are the industry and the industry wouldn't exist without them. So if you're like, if you're a sex worker and you hear someone say, support the workers, not the industry, there's no sex worker who hears you say that and thinks, yes, I'm so glad you're on my side. They think, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, what do you even mean by that? It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. I don't think OnlyFans is safer. The same way you can do your own content on OnlyFans, it's the same on the hub. Internet pimps are still pimps. No, OnlyFans is absolutely safer than Pornhub. Like, that's not even contested. It's not a debate. The industry is the men that control it, Danky. So wouldn't it be great if we could decriminalize sex work in all countries and treat it like every other job, so that it's safer for all sex workers and prostitutes and porn actors or porn stars? Decriminalize it. It reduces the trafficking. It reduces the power of the men at the top and the fucking pimps who run the whole thing. Pimp culture would go down massively. Decriminalize it all. Treat it like every other job. There needs to be unions, there needs to be maternity leave, there needs to be everything. Making porn immoral or bad is edging too far close to purity culture. Yeah, I agree. And there's a lot of purity culture when it comes to like people who talk about the goth house and shit. Education is in terms of pornography stuff, it's education that needs to be done. It's giving people like alternatives to pornography. It's like, unfortunately, people have made, for like decades now, people have been working vehemently to make pieces of content and apps and websites and stuff that are made specifically to get people addicted. And pornography is very, very extremely low risk, high reward, so it's prime for people with addictive personalities. If people are encouraged to socialize more as children, or are taught about porn addiction as children, or taught about like the harms of it, or the industry or whatever, or, you know, are encouraged to go out more and meet real people, then that's sort of an alternative to pornography. That people, it's like drinking. If you're like a chronic drinker, if you're like an alcoholic, it's probably because you got fucking nothing going on in your life and it's just, you're depressed, you know? People need communities, people need to socialize, people need like, it's a complicated issue. You can't solve it like that. People who are anti-porn, who think the solution is just ban porn, it's fucking ridiculous. Yeah, one issue as well, people conflate sex trafficking with sex work. They'll be like, sex work is bad because it's like really exploitative and there's underage people getting them, but it's like, no, but that's not sex work though. That's sex trafficking. To act as though like underage people having sex is a part of sex work is extremely harmful and disingenuous. Because no, that's not sex work. That's sex trafficking. And there has to be a distinction made between the two. Obviously, sex trafficking is something that happens as a result of certain elements of sex work, for sure. It is like an unfortunate part of the industry, but there needs to be a distinction made between the two. We can't act as though one openly invites the other. I don't know. It's definitely an interesting topic, and it's definitely one that I've got a lot of opinions about. It's also one that I definitely have a lot of half-baked opinions about too. Like, you know, I'm not like an expert on any of these topics, so I'm not too sure if my opinion will change in a matter of days. It'll definitely change after this video because I will be reading the comments, and I'm sure a lot of you will know a lot more than I have. So I will be reading, and I will be responding as well. So definitely let me know what you think in the comments below. All that being said, though, I feel as though we should just chill out a little bit because we've been talking quite serious the past few minutes, and just watch a bit more of their content. See if there's anything actually worth looking at here. I'm looking at one of these people's accounts here, and they actually seem to be super into DIY. Like, they make a lot of shit for their cosplay stuff. Model some shoes here as well. A lot of the story, yeah, made this mask as well. It's pretty fucking cool. A lot of the story music as well is like music that is associated with the goth subculture. I don't know. Would I be too uneducated in saying that this person here, Belbo Baggins, doesn't really look like a poser to me? They just look as though they're over-exaggerating their gothness, if that makes sense. To a potentially offensive degree, sure, but I wouldn't really be comfortable attributing poser status or like non-gothness to them. Yeah, this girl here, Pinky Chew Uwu or whatever, I definitely understand the poser status being attributed to this lassie a lot more. Yeah, same with this girl here, Queen Neffy. Definitely seems a lot less authentic than that one lassie. And then this one, I just don't know. It's private, innit? And I'm not about to follow them. Not that they would, I don't even know, would they accept? How do these fucking private accounts work with all these hundreds of thousands of followers? Like, what the fuck? What's going on here? Anyway, let's watch Goth Girls Blind Date 7 Nice Guys.
Group chat! Today, we have Pink looking for the love of her life.
You know what? I'll never understand the forced recoil. I'll never understand the forced recoil thing. It would genuinely be as though if I was like vlogging and as I like walked, I fucking swayed my hips around every step I took, so that my dick was like swinging in a very obvious way. And like I never wore underwear and I tried my hardest just like to make a bulge visible. It's just fucking cringe. It's not sexy at all. It's cringe.
Tell me, why are you single?
Well, I got out of a pretty bad relationship.
Boo! Boo!
So I'm looking for a golden retriever, kind, sweet, good boyfriend.
This editing is a fucking war crime. But also, they keep doing this jumpy shit. I can't handle that. You know what? Maybe we won't watch this video. I don't even know what I'm supposed to say about shit like this. I'm gonna speed it up, that's for sure. But also, I've said this before. I fucking hate that term, golden retriever. Because it's something I've been called before. But in my mind, it's just like another way of calling people dumb. So whenever I hear, oh, you're a golden retriever, I hear you're a fucking idiot. That's what I hear. And I don't appreciate it, frankly, like at all, actually.
You gotta describe what kind of shit he's gonna have to handle.
A little possessive. A little. I like sex. I haven't had sex in so long.
Did you know the last guy not have sex with you or what?
Well, he was only attracted to anime women, so. But it looked pretty anime. Kawaii desu. Something like that, you know?
What do you mean he was only attracted to anime women? Was he like addicted to?
I don't know about this. I don't know about this video, man. I'm a little uncomfortable. Like, this is, it's just very, again, it's very obvious what the audience is, and it's very obvious what is being attempted here. Like, this isn't real. This girl's not real. It's like, this girl's, she might as well be AI.
He was addicted to hentai? So he was addicted so much he didn't want to have sex with the real thing?
Something along those lines.
If you suffer from this, call 1-800-YIKES.
Bless you.
Okay.
I don't know about this video, dude. Let's skip ahead a little bit. So, like, the most replayed moments.
I'll help you. Don't worry. Oh no, never mind. I'll help you. Yeah. Hey, oh, what is this? Some sort of suicide squad?
We were close.
Hey, me too.
You're allowed to finish though.
I'll help you. Don't worry. Oh no, never mind. I'll help you. Yeah.
You're here for her, dude.
Yes, goth girls are all suicidal. Good one. Good joke. See, that is a little distasteful. I think that is quite distasteful.
I overheard that we're looking for a sub, and I'm bisexual. So who better than someone where pegging is required?
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay, this lady here, her voice, this girl here in the middle, that's not her real voice. That's really cringing me out, actually. What is she doing with her voice? She's talking like this, and it's like, if I fucking talk like this in the videos, I'd have no subscribers. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
I overheard that we're...
No. I don't want to hear this fucking bloke's stand-up routine.
All right, guys, so we got to know Dax. What tier are we gonna rank him? All right, so we got S, A, B, C, D, F. Reveal in 3, 2, 1.
BBC.
I love BBC.
Me too.
I love Doctor Who.
It's such a good show.
Okay, sorry.
You seem sweet, and I.
Okay, dude, I'm sorry, if that is her real voice, then I feel a bit bad. But I just don't, I need to see like more of this woman talking. What's her Instagram saying? I believe that one's Queen Neffy. I think this is her here.
Stop doing that. Seriously, I'm hungry, I want to go eat.
I got something you can eat.
No, I do not do that, that's gross. Put your seat up, seriously. What do you want to eat?
Footlong stuff.
No, seriously, stop. I'm hungry, I want Chili's or an Applebee's. No, get out, I'm sick of you.
Okay, that wasn't the right girl, but we did get an amazing piece of content. So, if anything, it was almost worth it. Which one? Oh, fucking hell, I can't believe I'm actually doing this. I'm going through, like, each one to see which one. Is this it here? No, that's not her. That's the fucking main girl in the video. Is it Belbo? No, it's not this girl either. Is this the fucking one whose account is private? I think it is. Is it? I'm so confused, dude. It'll have them in the description, surely, right? Okay, here they are. Buttercup. Wait, there's a new one. There's more. Who the fuck is this? Wait, what? Her account got removed. Probably because she's a fucking imposter. She's faking her voice. Okay, so you literally can't find her anywhere.
No. Cannoli.
Canula.
Okay, that's not her either. Okay, this girl's a mystery, dude. Buttercup cosplay. I'm gonna have to just Google that. She's on TikTok. This isn't her. The fuck? I'm livid. Why can't I find this girl? Okay, so it turns she's just a fucking enigma, I guess. Either that or one of those accounts was her, but the voice is just so different that I genuinely just couldn't recognize it.
Share and subscribe. Keep watching this video. I love you. Let's get up to our next contestant.
No, this bit's only replayed because he fucking done unplugged.
Big ol' naturals.
I was talking about your teeth.
Oh.
Most replayed because she shakes her tits out a little bit. Is that right?
Like, I don't know, I'm more of like a compliment guy. Like, I like your implants.
But what if I told you they were big ol' naturals?
I was talking about your teeth.
Oh, that too.
Okay, I'm just skipping to the most replayed moments. I guess that's replayed because she moved her tits about a bit. We're not, respectfully, we're not watching this whole video. Maybe on stream. Maybe on stream we'll watch this.
100%.
Prove it?
Yes. Please. I'll prove it.
Take his soul right now.
Really?
I'm dead serious.
Okay, on your knees.
Open up.
Oh God, Dax.
Head back. You ready?
Oh my God.
Swallowed it? Swallowed it?
To be honestly, if he's into that shit, fair fucking play, I guess. Why not? Brilliant.
I know, now you have to have sex with me. Oh no, what are we?
I'm done with this video, man. We're not watching this video. I'm actually sick of it. Maybe this was not a good idea. This was not a good idea. Full video? Wait, this isn't the full video. There's more. Oh my God, there's another one with fucking 40 minutes. Wait, this is half the video. There's a full version. And there's one comment by Cobbler and Breakfast saying, well done. What? What? The deeper this rabbit hole goes, the more confusing it is. The fuck? I'm going for a simple goth makeup, but I remember who I look like, and then it's all the goth gal. But wait, this is posted by one of the fucking this is posted by Pinky Chew Uwu! So this trend is going around because I guess Goth House owns black lipstick now, lol. To be honest, we are real goths, so it makes sense we wear it so well. Okay, so I guess they're claiming that they are real goths. You know what? I guess we just don't know. I don't think we know. I don't think we know if they are real goths. I don't think, because goth is not like, you know, it's not like white. It's not like being black or being like brown. Like if you're black, you're black. It don't matter what you do or how you act, you're black, right? You can be a token black or a racist black or whatever, but you're still black. So if these girls are goth, I don't know if we can really take that away from them. If they see themselves as goth, they listen to the music, they have the politics, then good for them. They're goth, I guess. But they're very harmful goths or very over-exaggerated goths or shitty goths, according to a lot of people. That's fine, sure. But to say that there's like nothing goth about them at all, maybe a little presumptuous, I guess. But I don't know. I just don't know. I really don't know. I think it's interesting. And I think, again, I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments. Stop using gothic style for views. I understand if you think this is like a shitty usage of the gothic style, but what's wrong with using the gothic style for views? It's like cosplaying for views, right? If you love to cosplay, then you want to put the cosplay online and get views off of it. This is what I mean with, like, I understand people having problems with these gal. That's totally fine. But I feel as though people need to think a little bit more about the issues that they have with them. Like, if your issue with them is that they dress a certain way, it needs to be more than that. If your issue with them is that they have an OnlyFans, it needs to be more than that. Unless you're openly, like, anti-sex work or anti-OnlyFans, in which case, sure, I guess you're consistent, whatever. I just happen to massively disagree with you. This is so sad and disturbing. I don't know if disturbing is the right word for it. Embarrassing by Mariana, I agree. Embarrassing is a much better adjective to attribute to these four. You know, all that being said, I actually think that's kind of it for this video. Like, I think I've said everything I need to. I think we've gone over all the content that we need to go over. So again, in this video more than any of the others, I would love to hear what you guys think about what I've had to say. And if you disagree with me, then please let me know why. If you want to educate me on something that you feel as though I'm unknowledgeable about, then definitely let me know why as well. With all that being said, I think that's the end. So thank you all for watching. Please comment, subscribe, like, and I'll catch you on the next one. So yeah,